My name is Lina, and I am 25 years old. This story is from my heart. It is about love, pain, and change. I want to share it with you. Maybe you will feel something too. It all began 3 years ago. I was working in a small office in the city. Life was simple. I had my job. I had my dreams. I was happy, but something was missing. Maybe love? Then one day, I saw him. He came to our office for some work. He was tall. His voice was calm. He smiled at me, and my heart stopped. I do not know why, but I felt something strong. His name was Ian. He spoke kindly. He looked into my eyes when he talked. I smiled back. My hands were shaking. That night, I kept thinking about him. I did not even know why. Soon we met again. Then again. We started talking, laughing, sharing. He told me, "Lina, you are different. You are special." My heart believed him. My soul believed him. He made me feel seen, heard, loved. I had never felt like this before. We talked for hours. We laughed like children. I felt safe with him. I felt complete. He told me about his dreams. I told him about mine. He said, "One day we will build a life together." I believed every word, every single word. I told my best friend, "I think he is the one. I think he is my forever." I did not know that forever is not always real. I did not know that sometimes love comes with pain, but in that moment, I was happy, truly deeply happy. That was the day my life began to change. That was the day I gave my heart away. I did not know what was coming next, but my heart, it was already his. I still remember the day I made the biggest decision of my life. Ian looked into my eyes and said, "Come with me. We will build our future together." My heart believed every word. Without thinking twice, I said yes. I was ready to give up everything. My job, my city, even my parents' trust, just to be with him. When I told my family, they were shocked. My mother cried. My father stayed silent. They warned me, "Lina, you are making a mistake. You do not know this boy well." But I had already made up my mind. I packed my bags, left my apartment, and quit my job. I even missed my best friend's wedding because I had to move with Ian. I thought I was walking into a dream, a new life with the man I loved. We moved into a small apartment in another city. It was not perfect, but I was happy because he was there. In the beginning, everything felt magical. We cooked together. We laughed at little things. We stayed up late, talking about our future. But soon, things began to change. He started coming home late. He stopped smiling. He no longer asked me how my day was. I would wait near the window, watching the clock, hoping he would text me. Sometimes I wanted to talk to him, tell him I was lonely, but I stayed silent because I had given up everything. For him, I had no job, no friends in this new city, no one to turn to. At night, I stared at the ceiling, wondering, did I make a mistake? But I told myself, no, love takes time. He just needs space. Things will get better. I kept holding on, even when I felt myself falling apart inside. I had given him my whole world, and I was afraid that he might not value it. Days passed. and the silence between us grew louder. Ian would come home, tired and cold. No smiles, no hugs, no questions like, "How was your day?" Just a few words, then silence. I tried to bring back the warmth. I cooked his favorite food. I wore the dress he once said he loved. I waited with a hopeful heart, but he barely noticed. One night, I asked him softly, "Is everything okay? Are you still happy with me?" He looked away. Then he said something that broke me. "I'm just tired. Do not ask so many questions." My lips stopped moving. My heart, it screamed. But I stayed quiet again. The next few weeks were worse. He started going out more. He would not say where he was going or when he would return. I sat alone at the dinner table, looking at the empty chair across from me. My eyes filled with tears, but I wiped them quickly because I thought if I stayed strong, maybe he would come back to me. One afternoon, I found a message on his phone. It was from another girl, a message with a heart at the end. My hands started shaking. My heart sank. I felt like the world around me had stopped. I waited for him to come home. I tried to stay calm. When he arrived, I showed him the message. He looked at me, then said, "You are overthinking, Lina. It is nothing." I wanted to believe him. I really did. But deep inside, I knew something was wrong. That night, I cried quietly into my pillow. I remembered my mother's words. "Lina, you are making a mistake." Maybe she was right. Maybe I gave too much. Maybe I forgot to love myself. The girl who once dreamed of a happy life was now living in fear. Fear of losing the man she gave everything to. The cracks in my heart were getting deeper, but I still stayed because I was afraid of being alone, because I hoped just one more day, maybe he would love me again. The days became harder to face. Each morning, I woke up with a heavy heart, hoping maybe today would be different. Maybe today, Ian would come back to me. But every day, the distance grew more. The silence, louder. I had already seen the signs, the long hours at work, the late-night phone calls. But I kept ignoring it. I kept telling myself, maybe it's just a phase. Maybe it will get better. One evening, I couldn't take it anymore. I needed to know. I needed to hear the truth. I couldn't live in this constant fear and doubt. So, I asked him again, "Ian, what's going on? Why are you pulling away from me?" He looked at me. There was something in his eyes that I had never seen before. Coldness. But I refused to look away. I needed answers. I deserved answers. Then he said it. The words that shattered my heart completely. "I'm not the man you think I am. I don't love you anymore. Lina, I'm sorry, but I want to end this." My breath caught in my throat. My hands trembled, and I felt like I couldn't breathe. I thought I was dreaming, but I wasn't. The truth hurt more than anything. I felt like the world was falling apart. I stared at him for a long time. I couldn't speak. What could I say? I had given everything. I had built my whole life around him. His words echoed in my mind. "I don't love you anymore." How could this happen? I thought we had something strong. I thought love would be enough. But love isn't always enough. Sometimes, no matter how much you give, It's never enough for the other person. Sometimes they change. Sometimes you change, and you don't even notice until it's too late. I wanted to scream, to beg him to stay, but I didn't. I stayed quiet. I let him leave, because deep down, I knew he had already left long before. Physically, he was still here, but emotionally he had gone. That night, I cried like I had never cried before. Tears soaked my pillow. I didn't care. I felt numb. I felt broken, but I knew somewhere deep inside me that this was the end. I had to face it. I had to let go, even if it hurt. It was the hardest thing I ever had to do. Letting go of him. Letting go of everything I thought we had. But after that night, I knew something had to change. I couldn't keep holding on to something that wasn't real anymore. I couldn't keep waiting for someone who had already left me. The days after he left felt like a blur. I didn't know who I was anymore. Everything felt empty. The silence in my house, the quiet dinners, the empty spaces where his laughter used to fill, everything reminded me of what I had lost. But I couldn't stay like this. I couldn't stay in this broken place forever. So I started to take small steps. I called my friends. I started going out again. I went to places I loved before I met him. I read books that once brought me comfort. I even started writing in my journal again. I remember one night sitting in the park, looking at the stars. I asked myself, what now, Lina? What's next for me? For the first time in a long time, I realized something important. I was still here. I was still alive. And I could still change. So I did. I started taking care of myself again. I went to the gym. I ate better. I spent time with my family and friends, the people who loved me from the start. I began to heal. It wasn't easy. There were still days when the pain hit me like a wave. When I missed him so much it hurt. But each day, the pain became a little easier to bear. Each day, I found a little more strength. I remembered the woman I used to be, the woman who had dreams, who had hope, the woman who had her own life before I gave it all up for him. And slowly, I began to believe in myself again. I started to realize that love isn't about giving up everything for someone else. It's about finding balance and never losing yourself in the process. I found strength in the pain. I learned that sometimes we have to break to rebuild. I wasn't just healing, I was growing. And even though the memories still stung, I knew one thing for sure. I would be okay. I would be more than okay. I was finding myself again. And this time, I was not going to let go.